And as always, I'm a little bit disheveled. Um, Someone texted me. I'm a little bit disheveled. As always, we're wearing juicy couture because he doesn't love a good little juicy moment. Um, and um, Welcome to the pop, produced by Master in Progress. So this week, I think last week on the episode, I talked about how this week was going to be a lot for me, and that I was going to the gala for the adoption agency I was adopted from. So we're going to dive into that definitely in a second. But I have a lot more to dive into, including the fact that I hosted my little sister's 18th birthday yesterday. It went really well. A lot of her friends showed up, which I was really happy for her for. Um, Not all of her family did, which not no comment. I plead the fifth because if I say it here, then I think there might be an issue if I say it. So I won't put my 2 cents in about that, except for some people need to grow up and get over themselves. Anywho, and then after that, I had my friend's 26, and then I also had to help Tammy with her yard sale. Guys, I'm sorry. I know this is not great for you guys hearing it on the podcast, but I definitely just fucked up. Pardon my French. But that did happen. And what else happened this week? Oh, I got to hang out with Mauricio Umansky, which I did talk about last week, so I won't go into that because, not everyone really cares, but I care. And he was really nice. He remembered me, and he asked me if I got my hat, which I did, and it's sitting right over there. And what else? He also gave me back my sunglasses, was pretty cool. They fell. It was a windy day, so I'm not surprised they fell. But they did fall. I am a bit parched, so sorry about this. It is summer in Massachusetts, so stay hydrated, everyone. That was a great night, and then after that, I don't know, we went somewhere. And then let's see, Nicole's 26 was last night. Went to a cigar bar. My hair is like this because I washed it twice and the smell of it has not come out. So I washed it again and put it in a bun because it's still wet, of course. It's not coming out, but that was my first time at a cigar bar, which is pretty cool. And then let's see, one of my newer friends just got her master's yesterday, which is so exciting. So I was able to celebrate with her on Friday. And always something to look forward to. Let's see what else. And it's just been a busy week at work. I think this week I'm going all in on overtime because there's a lot of stuff to catch up on. And it's the end of the month, so I want to make sure everything's good to go. And that's really my recap from this week. I haven't really been paying attention to what's going on in the world, because I can't seem to figure out what's going on in my world. So not really up to date on current events, but I'll have one next week to talk about. But the most important part of this podcast today is talking about the gala I went to. So if you don't know, which I feel like everyone knows, I am adopted. I was adopted at 6 months. I was adopted from New York City. Both of my biological parents are Guyanese. Guyana is in South America, for those of you who don't know, because the majority of you don't. And I have half siblings out there on both my biological parents' side. So both of my biological parents were married, and who is texting me? Both of my biological parents are married. Were married and had an affair and had me. So I have half siblings on both sides, and probably a lot of family out there that I just don't know about, which is fine. I've made my own family, but that we're trailing off now. I so oh my gosh. I went to the adoption agency gala in New York City. It was at this great place called Guastavino's in Manhattan. It's near the Lincoln Tunnel. It's under the bridge. It's beautiful. If you ever want to host like a really extravagant event, host it there. Beautiful. And this was my first time actually interacting with people from the adoption agency. I was told I was adopted when I was growing up, but we never interacted with the agency. I guess my parents might have. I don't know, but I was never told exactly where I was adopted from until I did research once I turned 18, because legally that was the age when I could start getting that information for myself, and I found out a lot. Since I did have a closed adoption, I'm not allowed to know specifically who my parents are or siblings are. In the state of New York, that's illegal. So I just got non-identifying information, which was more than enough, a lot more than I thought I was going to get. So that was pretty cool. But this was my first time in a room with people who changed my life even before I was born. And all I have to say, it was overwhelming. I know I cried a lot. I did cry a lot. It was emotional because like they were talking about like all these families and bringing people together, and I just felt so out of the loop. They have all these like mentorship programs to help children who are adopted but need to talk, because being adopted is, although I was very privileged, I know as an adoptee there's a lot of mental stuff that goes on with that. We'll stay there. And they had that help, but I never received it because I was kind of cut off from those resources, which sucks because I literally grew up, well, given an hour with traffic, literally right down the street. I was going into the city for like my ADHD and specialists on that. Like, I was so close yet worlds away. And I think being in that room by myself without those outside factors of my parents being there and kind of blocking everything off from me, it was like a whole new world was opening, and I feel like it was just a new beginning for me. And I actually met the two people who, it looks like sometimes Mariah, but I met the people who placed me with my parents. I was introduced by the event planner to one of the ladies, and she let her know that I was an adoptee. And I guess they have been working there for 25 years. Mind you, I'm 23, so that means they were there when all of this happened. And I told her my last name, and her eyes lit up. She was like, "Oh my gosh." And she was talking about my parents, and I was like, this girl doesn't know who my parents are. But when she started saying stuff, I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that's my mother. Yeah. Like, I can't even deny the fact that like, you're describing my mother right now. Yes, that is her. Um, and then she brought over another lady who was also a part of I guess, my adoption story. Once again, I don't know these ladies, and they haven't seen me since I was like 6 months old or 1 year old. Like, I didn't even know these people were a detrimental part of my life until that night where I was supposed to be drinking and enjoying food, which the steak was pretty good. They had this pear salad, which was also really good. Wasn't a fan of the desserts, and the alcohol was great. So there was that. But I yeah, so I met the second lady, and she starts crying when she finds out who I am, and I'm like, I'm crying because I'm going through emotional turmoil right now. I don't know why you're crying, but like, now it's gonna make me cry even more because you're emotional and I'm an emotional person and empathetic. We're going with empathetic, but you can't do this to me. And she started saying stuff about my parents and how they have the best food, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, black people just know how to cook, and I go, yeah. And now I think it's opened a door for me because I've never really felt closure when it comes to my adoption, just because, yes, my parents were very open about that, and I'm very much thankful that they never hid that from me. Some people do have that, but like, I knew I was adopted ever since I can remember. I never thought like, these are my biological parents. And while that is all good and dandy, there was so much more that could have made our relationship better, my relationship better with myself, my understanding of adoption so much better. And I think knowing that they knew these resources were there and not utilizing them frustrates me, because they knew I was having a hard time. They were obviously having a hard time, and there were resources out there to help us get through this and maybe not end up in the situation we are now. And they didn't think, yeah, let's use those. They were literally an hour away. But I digress. I think that this has definitely opened a door for me to actually spend more time in New York. You know, I really don't want to, but spend more time in New York. Learn more about who I am and what adoption means to me, and kind of not close out my adoption story, but finally find peace in my adoption story, and find a way, more of an impactful way, to help others who are going through this as well. Because I know I'm not the only one going through this. Like, that's why I talk about it, because I know I'm not the only one. And I think it's very important that, you know, these things are talked about between adopted parent, my parents, but parents and adoptees and parents, it needs to be an open conversation, especially if you're going to start them off so young, letting them know they're adopted. I knew since I was like at least 6 years old. If you're going to start that young telling people that they're adopted, then you better have the resources to help you guys get through that, because it's stressful for all parties involved. And I think this gala kind of really opened that up for me. I heard so many amazing stories, and part of me was like, wow, I'm jealous of those amazing stories. And not to say my story isn't wonderful, because it is. There are things that make it wonderful and have made my life so wonderful, and I don't want to seem like it's just negative, negative, negative. It's not just negative, negative, negative. It's just that the negative things need to be dealt with, and I can't just sit back and not say anything anymore. Um, and that's just where I'm at. And so while I enjoyed the steak and while I enjoyed the bread, oh my gosh, the bread tastes delicious. I am definitely going to be unpacking this event for quite some time, and I'm also hopefully going to be working a lot more with that agency, just because I can't let other people go through the same thing. And if I can talk about it and, you know, make sure one less person goes through this, I will feel like, okay, this was worth it. Um, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have like a few nightmares about it. A few tears, but it was nice to like dress up, go get drinks, eat some good food. Run DMC was there. Some weatherman was like not our moderator, but the host. It was beautiful. And if you check out my Instagram, like you'll see, by Tuesday I will have posted the reel. I don't think I've posted it yet, but I don't know. This is I'm excited because I see this as a new door opening for me and a new venue of being able to impact people's lives positively and hopefully change things for the better. Maybe, you know, I feel like there needs to be more guidance on this whole situation, and I definitely see this as a new opportunity, a new door, new bright shiny door opening right in front of me, and I am barreling through it. So yeah, that's it for today. I think next week I'm gonna do part 2 of daddy issues, because this definitely brought up a few of those, and go from there. But I hope you all have a great week, though, and ow, hope you all have a great week and get to stay cool and warm and make that money, and, you know, yeah, that's about it.